I want to bring in Claire McCaskill on the same question I posed to my colleague Vaughn, and I want to reread it because it's breathtaking. The Kansas City Star laying it out there. This is what they write about Senator Josh Hawley. Quote, "No one other than President Donald Trump himself is more responsible for Wednesday's coup attempt at the U.S. Capitol than one Joshua David Hawley, the 41-year-old junior senator from Missouri, who put out a fundraising appeal while the siege was underway." It's just stunning to read those words in a newspaper, in your newspaper.
Yeah, this is has been weird for me. I'm old-fashioned, and I was taught that when you lose an election, you take the high road, and you don't spend the next years of your life pointing out the flaws of your opponent who defeated you. And so I have tried with some, which is hard for me, as you know, with some discipline, to avoid direct criticism of Josh Hawley. But the moment has come, and by the way, that concept kind of appears quaint at this point in time, that we would try to have some kind of good manners about political losses in light of what Josh Hawley is engaged in. He has taken what he knows is a political loss for the president, that he lost the election. Josh Hawley is a very smart guy. Josh Hawley is Stanford, Yale Law, clerked for Chief Justice Roberts, has not said one word, by the way, defending Justice Roberts when the president's lawyer, Lynn Wood, started calling him a child molester. And he knows better. He knows better. It is such a craven political move. He is calculating. This is a guy who has more ambition than common sense. And he is in a big hurry. He barely had gotten elected attorney general when he promised he wouldn't use that office to run for another. And then he was running for United States Senate. He barely gets elected to the United States Senate, and he's running for president. And in the process of him trying to be hyper ambitious, he has compromised not just what I think is integrity that you should have if you're an elected office holder, but the national security of this country.
Claire, I'm just going to reject the idea that he's smart because he went to fancy schools. Okay, so I'm going to just we're going to agree to disagree because
smart.
Maybe he's well educated. He's not smart. Let me put back the picture we just had on. This is him with a fist raised to the men and women who committed the crimes of sedition and insurrection today, in the words of President-elect Biden. Let me tell you what else he put in motion. And the Kansas City Star writes plainly that he has, quote, blood on his hands, end quote. What he put in motion, and I know a little bit about how the Republicans roll, is a race to the bottom. When he came out and said that he was going to join the Republicans in the House, and they didn't have the power to object to the certification. We should be really clear with our words, to object to the counting of the certified electoral votes. He put in motion 11 other craven senators from the Republican Party joining him. And to see what happened today as this fully sponsored Republican riot. I mean, this wasn't some fringy group. These were Donald Trump supporters who walked directly from Donald Trump's rally down the same street to the U.S. Capitol, where they were welcomed by Donald Trump's accomplices in the U.S. Senate, including one Josh Hawley. How smart can he be?
Yeah, smart's probably not the right word, because what he's done is not very smart politically or any other way. But he doesn't have an excuse that he doesn't have the intellectual capacity to understand how craven his actions are. He was down there trying to campaign with those people this afternoon. He, I said sarcastically on Twitter, I'm surprised he wasn't in the Senate, on the Senate floor, shaking hands with them as they were going through his colleagues' desks. This is all about him trying to get a leg up in Iowa and New Hampshire in 4 years. And he was the one that broke. And I've had a number of Republican senators say to me that the other 12 to 13 probably never would have gone there if Hawley hadn't done what he did. So I do think this is on Josh Hawley, and I think it's fair for me to say that, even if he did defeat me in an election.
It is absolutely fair. It's restrained. Bret Baier made a fool of him when he asked him on his Fox News program when or if he would look his supporters in the eye and tell them that on January 20th, Joe Biden will be America's president. He couldn't say that, and he wouldn't say that.